All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. Pastor Dowell here. Check it out. This morning I want to talk to you about order and discipline. And hopefully when I speak about this subject here briefly here this morning, you'll begin to understand the reason why a lot of people murmur and complain. You begin to see the reason why. Matter of fact, for a lot of things. I'll give you an example. The people who are swift to anger are usually some of the most unintelligent people that there are, because they're showing you how uninformed that they are, because they literally have no self-control. To be slow to wrath, slow to anger is to be wise. All right, tidbit there this morning. All right, now, discipline and order. A long time ago, I was actually up preaching, and I told the people, I said, when I went into the military, the Army figured out that it takes 8 weeks of boot camp to be able to turn you into a soldier. Same thing with an airman or Marine. All right? They figured that in this training, after 200 years of doing this stuff, that it would take you somewhere along about that amount of time to make you a disciplined soldier. And in that, you have to understand that when you sign that contract and you're in there, you no longer get to wake up when you want to wake up. You no longer get to eat when you want to eat. It's not a choice if you're going to do physical fitness training or not. You're going to do it. As a matter of fact, you're going to do everything that you are told to do. And there will be no back talk and no questions asked. Discipline. And of course, if you've been in any type of collegiate sports, professional, after you graduate boot camp, after you graduate, or once you make it to the next level, nobody's going to hold your hand. They expect for you, because you are a professional soldier, because you're a professional athlete, they expect for you to already know, to be grown enough to understand and comprehend that nobody needs to tell you to be at meetings on time. Nobody needs to tell you to be at training camp on time. Show up late if you want to. They're simply not going to tolerate you. I was speaking to one of my guys, and I told him, I said, boot camp is something else. But see, then, the question was asked, well, do you ever have an option to quit? And the answer is no, not in boot camp. You can get recycled and all the other stuff. But however, if you are so rebellious and so stubborn and so stiff-necked that you are just simply not going to cut the mustard, you're going to do everything you can to get kicked out. Well, the military has an alternative. What they'll do is give you a dishonorable discharge and mess you up to make sure that you don't get a job or be able to function in the real world for a while. Now, as we go on, if you choose to volunteer for special skills, let's say Airborne School, Air Assault School, Ranger School, or Special Forces, just stuff like that. All that is on a voluntary basis. See, by now you are a soldier. You understand the structure. And in those, you have an option to quit in those special skills schools. You can quit scuba school, Pathfinder school. And you can go right back to your permanent party. No problem. You know the reason why it's so easy to quit in that? Because as a matter of fact, when you start Airborne School, you start Air Assault School, you start Ranger School, and many of these other skills, they have a day called Hell Day. That's usually the first day. Sometimes in different disciplines, it's called Hell Week. And what they do is they PT you physically half to death, and they degrade you. I mean, they're really trying to get up here in your mind and head to see how mentally strong you are. Because a lot of people just simply ain't mentally strong. They can't cut the mustard. They're weak in mind. And the whole purpose of this is to weed out the weaker ones. It's not trying to keep anybody. See, it's a different philosophy. They're not trying to keep you there if you don't want to be there. And if you can't handle the stress and you can't manage it, if you're not in shape enough, if you're not disciplined enough, if you don't have what it takes internally, if you're not mentally strong, if you can't cope with someone in your face, you can't cope with adverse conditions, then they don't want you there, because in the training after you pass this, you're going to be subject to stuff like that all the time, because if you make one mistake and you slip up, it's going to cost somebody their life, all because you chose to be incompetent. So what they do is they got a hell day or hell week, and what they do is they figure out this is the way to weed out the mentally weak people, because you don't want them there. And so, for instance, when I was in Airborne School, they make you run all day, every day. Make you run. They PT you half to death in the sandbox, make you spray you with hoses and call you everything but a child of your father and mother, or a child of the king. And they'll spray you down, and they'll make you roll back over inside the sand. You got sand in your eyes, sand in your ears, sand everywhere else, all over the place. And they'll constantly flutter kick, push-ups, sit-ups, flutter kicks, side straddle hops. They will keep going and do it for hours on end. Then you know what? After that day is over with, you know what they do? As benevolent as they are and kind as they are, they give you all night to think about the next day. Because when your mind starts playing tricks on you, you mean to tell me I got 3 more weeks of this shit to put up with? Man, your mind starts talking to you. And you know what it does? It gives you ultimatums and options to quit. In other words, you can stop all this pain right now. You can stop all this suffering right now. You don't need this. You don't have to put up with this. I mean, all you got to do is quick, go back to your regular unit. You're still in the military. You still have a job. I mean, hey, you still keep your rank, so forth and so on. That's what you do, right? So check this out. The next day you stand in formation. The first thing they do is they come out there and they parade out there and they say, first question they ask, is there anybody that want to quit? All of a sudden, between a quarter and half of the people that are at that school, they either take a step forward or they take a step backwards to show you that they no longer can tolerate this type of uncomfortableness. So they quit. And if you're in the formation and you're trying to egg on your buddy, trying to convince him to not quit, you're going to be in the front lean and rest position, the push-up. And so they do everything they can to usher you out there and get you out of the way. You know why? Because they don't want anybody there who don't want to be there. The sole purpose of you enduring the training is to show that you want to be there. And then you want to end up earning what a lot of people in the military cannot earn, cannot obtain, cannot ever get, cannot covet. They cannot covet and get the airborne wings. They cannot get the air assault wings. They cannot get the ranger tab. And the higher you go up in different skill sets and levels, the more difficult the school is. I think ranger school is something like 64 days, and it's a hard ass school. I said all that because now you see the reason why on YouTube, when a lot of people start using Pastor Dowell name and dropping my name and start getting all in their feelings and all in their emotions and negative feelings and emotions, it's only for one reason. Chances are they got corrected. Chances are they got rebuked. Chances are they got reprimanded. Because, I mean, we physically just we can't beat up on people and stuff and all else. So they don't have a job. It's voluntarily that you come to service or something like that. And as soon as you do something unlawful, which you never hear that part right there. You never hear about the immorality that a lot of these people do. You never hear about the weakness of the flesh that they have, because we don't go out here and put people's weakness of life on display. Next thing you know, they go run to YouTube because of the all in their feminine feelings. And then they start making all these videos, and some of you, because you're not disciplined, you can't even read between the lines. You can't even tell if they're telling the truth or not, because that's where the weakness of your spirit is. You end up agreeing with them, and you think you're actually doing something by agreeing with these people, and you don't know nothing about the whole entire situation. Usually people who are spoiled brats, they murmur, they complain, they backbite. They always trying to spit in somebody else's ear to get them to ally with them because they don't like a certain way things are going. They've never really truly been a leader in their life before because they've never ever really truly been a good follower. You see what I mean? You just don't want to be standing up in front of anybody and then let them so-called teach you, especially if they themselves don't have a teachable spirit and you don't have a teachable spirit. You see, there's much to be desired in life, and there's much to learn. So there's more to everything than what meets the eye. I hope I said something to stimulate thought. And I hope I said something that will at least get somebody to think today. You see, I'm a very disciplined man. I'm a very honorable man. I'm a very forthright, forthcoming man. I don't tolerate a bunch of foolishness. Do I jest? Yes, at times. Do I have fun? Oh yeah, all the time. But when it come time for game time, when it come time for mission time, when it come time to be serious, I'm not going to be in a playful mode because we're going to be disciplined. And I don't mind telling you, there's a lot of people, whether you're in a position of authority, elders, pastors, teachers, leaders, or whatever it is, or just brothers and sisters, a lot of people, they end up getting disenfranchised. In other words, they end up seeing the gate or not invited to come back to our particular assembly no more, simply because they are a thorn in our side and they refuse to transform and change. You see, at the beginning of this video, I said that the Army figured that it takes 8 weeks to make you out of a soldier. And that means 8 weeks of literally changing you from your spoiled brat, passive civilian mindset into a soldier. Again, they're going to throw trash cans down the aisle, wake you up 3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody do something wrong, y'all all going to be out in, well, I don't know how they do it today. Today, I don't know about the military. I'm talking about back in 85. Oh, yeah, they're going to have all of you out in your underwear, and you're going to be doing PT in the rain and stuff, and that's just so you can get all of you to start functioning in a unit. Yeah, for you to put pressure on each other to do better. But, you know, most people, again, the people who are envious of Pastor Dowell, or even you, it could be you or someone that you see, people that constantly always have a negative connotation about someone in authority, chances are, and too many times more often than not, there's nothing wrong with the ones in authority. It's wrong. What's wrong is that these people have no honor, no code of conduct. They're definitely not disciplined. And in the biblical sense, they will never, ever, ever be a good disciple. Hey, you like this video, share it. Hit the like button down there, please, and the bell so you can get notifications to hear more of my ranting and raving and stuff, to try to have some self-help and self-improvement programs with people, because you have to understand, I've done a lot in my life. I've had a lot of experiences, and I've traveled a lot in this world. Of course, you know, the book says, he that travel much knows much. But hallelujah. I ain't talking about getting on the internet and traveling either. But hallelujah. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. The King is coming.